Hi, today I'm going to talk about the fear of aging and losing value as you age. And this is a topic for women, obviously. Like, I'm sure men kind of deal with this if they're aware, of their energy, but there's a lot of propaganda out there about women and aging. And this was due to a client question. I had a client ask me this. For those of you who don't know, my name is Carly. I am a women's life coach. I help women become their ideal selves through inner work and emotional self-mastery. So please like, comment, subscribe if anything in this video resonates with you. If you hate it, if you don't like it, please comment anyway. So let's get right into it. I felt like, and this question comes from a young woman who's younger than 25, and I remember I never felt older. I'm just gonna say this: I never felt older than when I was under 25, ever. So when I was like 19 to even 18, honestly, it started at 16. Like when I turned 16, I was like, this is the year, because I grew up in a time when everybody was like sweet 16. 16's like the year, the number, for whatever reason, in a lot of like books and a lot of movies. You're 16, it's so special. I never really experienced like the specialness of being 16, but I definitely experienced this feeling of now I'm deteriorating, which I think is pretty common. So you hit 16 and then you're like, oh my God, I'm just getting older. Like life is passing me by. And this is a really common feeling. I was a stripper I started stripping at 19. And when I turned 24, I was talking to one of my DJs and he made this joke. He was in his 40s and he was a really nice guy. Like he was just joking, but I was like, oh my God, you're right. He said, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna be 24. He was like, wow, you've got one more year of usefulness left. And he was joking, okay? Like he was just being very playful. He's just a very playful guy. And I was just like, oh shit, like that had kind of been something I had internalized. When you're a young woman, you think that you're told literally to your face, you're told through narratives online, you're told through narratives in movies that you're only beautiful and you're only valuable and you're only worth anything if you are under 25 or even younger in some cases, some very strange cases. And my experience, when I hit 25, all of that vanished. Like all of that belief and all of that vanished, because I realized not only was I getting hotter and not only was I more confident, none of that was true. The only thing that happened to me when I turned 25 was that like weird creepy guys stopped liking me as much. And it's not because I looked older, because I didn't. I looked still really young. In fact, I looked really, really good at 25. I'm not saying I don't look good now. I still do. But when I hit 25, I realized like I gained this level of maturity that was different. It was just like I wasn't insecure anymore about it. I stopped being insecure about my age, and I stopped being insecure about like growing up and getting older, because I realized it was all bullshit. Like, and when you hit 25, you realize that it's bullshit, because when you mature, you stop putting up with shit. You stop putting up with the games that men play. You stop putting up with the lies that they tell you. You stop like believing their shit. And that's why, and I want to make this very clear, that is why they say those things about you. They say those things about you because they know that the older you get, the more powerful you get. And this isn't cope, and people are going to comment and say, or you're going to hear people commenting. I don't really get nasty comments on my videos, but you're going to hear people say, hey, this is cope, and that's because they're the ones coping, not you. They're projecting. So I want to make one thing very clear. You don't lose value as you age, you gain it. Okay? There's no such thing, it's not a reality of losing value. Okay, so we have to stop believing this lie, because on a spiritual, energetic level, the only thing that can happen to a soul is a gaining of value, because you gain experience. There's nothing more valuable than physical lived life experience on planet Earth. This is the #1 place to be in the entire universe. If you are here, you are envied, you are coveted, you are the best of the best on a spiritual level. You would not be here otherwise. You cannot come into a human body without being a highly evolved soul. Okay? So there is nothing more valuable than human life experience. That means that the older you get, the more experience that you have, the more bodies you have, quote unquote, the more valuable your soul is. And I'm not saying your soul can be measured in value. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the more experience you have, the more knowledge and wisdom you gain. The more knowledge and wisdom you gain, that doesn't just stay with this life. You carry that into your next lives. Okay, that's why you come into this life knowing certain things, being good at certain things, having certain talents, certain skills. That's because you mastered them in the past. Your soul does not lose that. It doesn't lose anything as you age, it gains. Okay, and this isn't cope. When people say this is cope, what they're doing is they're coping with the fact that they are not as spiritually powerful as women get older. Because the reality is that women are more spiritually, energetically, and emotionally powerful than men. And if women knew this about themselves, no woman would put up with a man's bullshit. There has been a massive propaganda campaign for hundreds, if not thousands of years against women's self-esteem and women's self-worth. And the older you get, the more you come into your self-worth, if you're a mature woman. If you're an immature woman, you're going to turn 25 and you're going to crumble because you're like, oh my God, I've lost my value, because you believe the propaganda, because you believe the lies. Okay? And the reason that I'm so passionate about this is because my experience when I hit 25 was the exact opposite of what everybody told me. And the older I get, it's the exact opposite of the narrative. My experience is not that I lose value. My experience is that I gain value. Not only are the men that are attracted to me way better men than when I was 20, in my early 20s and teens, the quality is higher, I'm treated better, I know what I want, I know my standards, and good, healthy men can read that. They read that energy on you, and they're like, fuck, I want that. You know, healthy men do not look for a woman's, like how young she is and that's it. That's not what they're looking for. A healthy man wants you to be his match energetically. And when I say this, I mean healthy men. I'm not talking about the guys that you see on the side of the road who are like, I only want a young, hot girl who shuts up. You know, they want you to shut up because you're immature. And they're immature. That's little boy consciousness, okay? It's really like, I don't have words for the amount of propaganda that is put against women and how much you need to see that. Like, your power is dependent on you seeing through the bullshit and saying, fuck that. I'm gonna be who I want. I'm gonna be what I want. I don't decrease in value as I age. That's not a thing. Okay? My worth is not in my youth. It's not in my looks. Your youth and your looks are just a part of your life experience, just like they are for men. Okay? And holding those things loosely and appreciating what you have when you have it is the only thing that you are here to do with those. They're not here to show you how valuable you are, because that's not a thing. Your value isn't dependent on how many people find you hot. Your value is dependent on the kinds of life experiences you are here to live. And did you fulfill your mission here? Did you live it? Did you live that life experience? I want to reiterate that as you get older, you start seeing through the bullshit, and people can sense that about you. Men are very intimidated. Immature men. I'm going to reiterate that. Immature men are very intimidated by the mature feminine ability to see through their bullshit. And when you understand this, then you understand the propaganda campaign against you. And it's not a patriarchy thing. This is an actual spiritual war against humanity, because when women are in power, men are empowered, because women choose good men when we are healthy. Okay? When we are mature and when we are in our wisdom, when we refuse to buy into the bullshit. We are the most energetically powerful. We are the spiritual protectors. We are the spiritual and energetic protectors of the planet and of our human race. We are the ones who gatekeep evil villains out of our societies when we are powerful. That's our job. Our job is to be those energetic gatekeepers, to look through that bullshit and to make men rise up because we can see them. Okay? So who benefits from you thinking that you lose value when you age? Who benefits from you thinking that you lose value when you become wise? Who benefits? One, it's little boys who do not want to grow up. Two, it's those deeper forces that are pulling strings behind the scenes on a spiritual level that keeps humanity as a slave race. Okay? Currently, if you look out at most humans are unconscious, they're asleep, they're enslaved to their passions, to their urges, to their traumas, to the 9-to-5 workplace, to unhealthy food, to lack of spirituality. Who benefits from that? Who benefits from keeping you weak? Can you imagine if all women were in power, what the world would look like? There would be no weak men. And if they were weak, they would be quickly risen up to actual initiated manhood, because women would be like, no, you need to rise. You need to rise up. So who benefits from you thinking that as you get older, you lose some kind of value? The only people who benefit are people who benefit from you being weak, having low self-esteem, and being easily controlled, because older women are not valued. People love older women. And if you can control an older woman and beat her down to a certain level where she doesn't have any self-worth, where she doesn't have any self-esteem, we lose that spiritual protection power. I don't know if you've noticed, but older women are the spiritual protectors of younger women. Okay? It's older women who are able to spot the bullshit in people and are able to spot lies and are saying, hey, don't go do that, young lady. That's bad for you. That guy doesn't have good intentions for you. Your grandmother always knows. The grandmothers of the community used to be very revered and very respected, and we need to bring that back. And the only way that we bring that back is by respecting ourselves and refusing to buy into the propaganda. If you want to be respected as an old woman, you need to respect yourself, and you need to not buy into the propaganda. You need to refuse it. And only fuck with men who are not little boys, energetically and emotionally and mentally. Have those high standards. And when you have those high standards, that comes from a place of self-worth that says, I am unfuckwithable. I am unbothered and unfuckwithable. Fuck you. I can see straight through your bullshit. You are not going to fuck with me, and you're not going to fuck with my family. Okay? So, it's a very passionate topic for me. And I didn't realize how passionate of a topic this was, because it's something that you just kind of like realize, oh my God, this is so stupid. When you hit a certain age, you're like, wow, I can't believe I believe that. Because not only is my life getting better, the men that I'm attracting are getting better. They're getting more mature. They're getting hotter. They're getting more masculine, you know? So don't worry about getting older. I do have more to say. I have a free emotional mastery masterclass, link in my bio. I also have one-on-one coaching available for those of you who are looking for it. This whole mentality is a byproduct of women forgetting what feminine energy actually is. Feminine energy is not putting on a dress and being submissive and being docile and being subservient and being a good girl and being nice. That's not feminine energy. That can be a part of your expression of feminine energy if you want it, because feminine energy also has that nurturing quality, that motherly quality. But currently, that is the only quality that is acceptable in certain mentalities. On the other hand, we have the quality of like the sex kitten rebel, which is not the divine feminine either. That could be an aspect of how you want to express, but that's not the full aspect either. So part of the divine feminine is this aura of, if you want me, you need to work for me. No matter your age, no matter what you look like. It's what people are calling black cat energy. That's the divine feminine. That's the attitude that you need to have. Your self-esteem should be so high that every little boy around you is offended and terrified. Okay? And it's not hard to do. It's not hard to offend and terrify a little boy. They're unattractive to a healthy feminine woman. That little boy consciousness is disgusting to a healthy feminine woman. It's like, aw. But if they approach you, which they don't because they're scared, because they can see that you see right through them, then you're like, no. They know that you're going to reject them. They can feel it. So little boys, and you're going to get like flack for this because this is the propaganda campaign against you. You're going to hear, oh, you're just coping with the fact that you lose value as you age. You're going to hear, oh, well, you're just coping with the fact that your looks are gone, because according to the propaganda, according to the story, woman's value is only in her looks and her youth and her beauty, right? But that's not true, as we've stated earlier. That's part of the propaganda campaign, because as you grow, as you get older, as you get wiser, you become more spiritually and energetically powerful. You become the spiritual and energetic guardian of the tribe and of humanity. If you're a conscious woman, if you're an unconscious woman who's never healed herself and never gone within, then no, you don't. You maybe you do lose value as you age. Maybe that is your experience. And I'm not saying that's an absolute fact, because anybody can become the woman that they're here to be by healing and by going within and by becoming aware. But for some women who never hit those levels of maturity, that's why they cling to their youth and their beauty so hard. That's why we see these celebrities who are getting these insane plastic surgeries to preserve youth and beauty that they think their value lies in, when it doesn't. Because they never matured to the level of a woman who has that spiritual and energetic security. Okay? Which is very attractive to a healthy man, no matter their age. I want you to look around and look at, because this is what really did it for me, is look for women who are like 80s who have men obsessed with them. My mom is in her 60s and she still gets hit on. You know, she's got gray hair. Like she looks like she's older, you know. I'm not saying she looks like she's old. She actually looks very youthful because she takes really good care of herself. But it's obvious that she's an older woman and she still gets hit on. You know, so all of this stuff, like you lose value as you age. My dad's in love with my mom and she's in her 60s. You know, all of this bullshit that people are telling you is propaganda to keep you in low self-esteem, to keep you hating yourself, to keep you hating the natural cycle of being a woman, to keep you totally disconnected from your femininity. That's evil, by the way. Anything that tries to separate you from your power, and anything that tries to separate you from your innate self-love and your innate knowing of your worth and value is evil, and you need to reject it wholly. So people are going to say, people who are not in their power, those little boys who are not in their power, who are deeply, deeply terrified of the feminine, are going to say you're coping. They're going to say you're just making shit up to make yourself feel better. Don't buy it, because it's bullshit. Why would you care about some little boy's opinion? Grown men do not speak like that to women. They're like, yes, I can absolutely see and know and feel the inherent value of you, no matter your age. And by the way, if a man cheats on you with a younger woman, he's still in that little boy mode. He's not fully like matured. He's not a fully matured man yet. He can become one, but you have to make sure not to fuck with boys who are in that mode, you know? So the less attention these little boys get, the more they're like, you know, I guess I have to grow up. Women are the ones who cultivate men's consciousness. So we're the ones who inspire men to their next level, okay? And the lower your self-esteem, the more you are not doing that. So if you have really, really low self-esteem, you're only going to be cultivating men who are in that little boy consciousness. So this is why we have all of these women who are like, wow, men are useless, blah, blah, blah. Oh my God, what is going on? Thank you. And it's not because men are useless, it's because as a woman, you have lost your ability because you don't have that self-esteem in you. You've lost your ability to inspire men to their next level. And you can get that back. I'm not saying it's permanently gone. You can get that back at any time by coming back into your mature femininity that says, fuck you. I refuse to buy into this narrative that says I am not the prize, that I am the one who needs to prove my worth to a man by only being youthful, by only being beautiful, and by only being like hot or whatever. Men know your inherent value. The reason that people put you down is so that they can feel like that you're more attainable to them, because they know that they are not on your level. Okay? So a man who feels like a worthy man is going to praise you. He's not going to put you down, and he's not going to say, you know, anything about your youth or your looks deteriorating or your value. Okay? So just, unless he's like making fun of it. Making fun of that bullshit. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, please let me know. I love you. Bye.